Tonight on KVR News, the Senate confirmed Neil Gorsuch as Supreme Court Justice. We bring you the latest on his swearing-in ceremony.
Hackers target Dallas's emergency alarm system.
And KVR investigates the racist posters placed in UT engineering buildings aimed specifically at Chinese exchange students.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News. For Monday, April 10th, I'm Katie Balevic.
And I'm Ashley Tsao. Thank you for joining us.
A teacher and 8-year-old boy were shot and killed at San Bernardino Elementary School after the teacher's husband opened fire at the school and then shot himself. Cedric Anderson walked into North Park Elementary School and opened fire on his wife, Karen Elaine Smith, without saying anything. Directly after shooting his wife, Anderson reloaded the weapon and shot himself. 2 students behind the teacher were shot during the attack. One of the boys, Jonathan Martinez, was flown to Loma Linda Medical Center, where he was later declared dead. Another 9-year-old student continues to be in critical condition. The shooting took place in a classroom dedicated to students with intellectual disabilities.
Cedric Anderson used a high-caliber revolver during his attack. However, it is not yet known if he obtained this weapon legally or illegally. School administrators explained that all visitors to the elementary school require a photo ID and a sign-in at the front office. Anderson followed these protocols and entered the building by saying he needed to drop something off for his wife. After the shooting, students were taken to Cal State San Bernardino's physical education building. However, many parents said the school was not prepared for this kind of situation. Parents faced confusion trying to figure out where to pick up their children. And this shooting comes after San Bernardino experienced a terror attack at the Inland Regional Center almost 2 years ago.
Residents of a Syrian town recently struck by a deadly chemical attack say airstrikes continue to hit the town of Khan Sheikhoun, despite intense international condemnation. The most recent airstrike left 1 woman dead and several others wounded. Previously, an estimated 86 residents of the Syrian town died after one of the most deadly airstrikes since the Syrian war began 6 years ago. Sarin gas, the nerve agent used in the attack, left many Syrian citizens gasping for air. The attack is believed to have been orchestrated by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. However, he and Vladimir Putin continued to refuse these allegations. Putin stated that the nerve gas was the result of an airstrike hitting a terrorist weapon facility. Witnesses and victims of the attack contradict this story by saying they saw chemical bombs being dropped on their city.
And in retaliation for these chemical attacks on the Syrian people, President Trump ordered an airstrike on the Syrian airbase Al-Shayrat airfield. According to U.S. officials, the airbase is responsible for launching the chemical attack that killed so many Syrian citizens. The strike included 2 U.S. warships launching a total of 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles. This marks the first time the U.S. has intervened in the 6-year-long Syrian war. But a recent poll conducted by CBS News indicates that a majority of Americans approve of the U.S. airstrike on Syria. Conversely, only 41% remain confident in President Trump's ability to handle the entire Syrian war.
Palm Sunday celebrations in northern Egypt quickly became scenes of horror and panic after 2 suicide bombers attacked Coptic churches in the towns of Tanta and Alexandria. Reporters say 44 people have died and over 120 people have been injured in the 2 attacks. In a state televised broadcast, Egyptian President al-Sisi did not identify the victims as either Christian or Muslim, but as Egyptians. President Trump took to Twitter Sunday morning to condemn the terrorist attack. He wrote that he had confidence that President al-Sisi would handle the situation properly. The Islamic State is claiming responsibility for the attacks, and President Sisi has declared a 3-month state of emergency in Egypt. These bombings occurred just weeks before Pope Francis plans to meet the Patriarch of the Coptic Church, Pope Tawadros II.
Neil Gorsuch was sworn in as the newest member of the Supreme Court during a public White House ceremony in the Rose Garden. This comes only days after the Senate used the nuclear option to confirm Gorsuch after Democrats blocked the nomination with the filibuster. This historic change in the Senate allows all future Supreme Court nominees to pass through the Senate with a simple 51-vote majority instead of the traditional 60-vote. Gorsuch's confirmation marks what President Trump believes to be his first domestic victory. During the ceremony, Trump told the press that this achievement even came within the first 100 days of his presidency. Gorsuch is expected to play an important role in a pivotal freedom of religion case to be heard on April 19th.
Dozens of companies continue to pull their advertisements from the Fox News segment The O'Reilly Factor. This comes after a recent discovery that the show's host, Bill O'Reilly, was involved in sexual harassment and inappropriate conduct cases with a total of 5 women. Collectively received $13 million. Allstate Insurance and Coldwell Banker Real Estate all refuse to buy airtime. Other companies are rushing to pull their ad spots, some of which have been reserved in advance. President Trump has voiced his support of Bill O'Reilly, tweeting that he does not think O'Reilly did anything wrong. This comes only weeks after President Trump declared April to be National Sexual Assault and Prevention Month.
If you were in Dallas this past weekend, you might have been surprised to hear emergency alarms late Friday night when really there wasn't any emergency at all. Hackers set off all 156 sirens at exactly 11:40 p.m. The city's FBI initially tweeted the alarms were only malfunctioning, only to later learn the system was hacked. It is still unclear who actually hacked the system, but officials believe the attack came from within the Dallas area.
The San Antonio Police Department discovered a body in the San Antonio Riverwalk. Police say the body was fully clothed and belonged to a black male in his late 20s to early 30s. The body was discovered after a worker along the Riverwalk saw the body and flagged down a barge driver, who then told police. Authorities continue to investigate to determine the cause of the drowning and if it was an accident or a homicide. Investigators are on the scene to update this developing story.
Last weekend, racist posters targeting Chinese students were posted in the SAC and the engineering school. These flyers gave a time and location for what they called a special class to teach Chinese more about ethics. There was also a detailed list of behaviors that the posters condemned, suggesting that they were commonplace in Chinese culture but not in American culture. The list included things like burping as well as more serious allegations such as plagiarism. These posters were quickly removed by the university, which only recently sent out its hate and bias incident response policy. President Fenves said the student who posted the flyers has been found but has not released whether or not the student will be punished for his actions. We spoke with one student of Chinese descent to see how she felt about the incident.
Coming here to UT, where it actually has a higher percentage of Asian students than a lot of other universities, especially ones in Texas, and then seeing posters like that, it's already hard for us to feel like we belong here, and those kind of posters reinforce the idea that we don't belong here.
Airbnb permanently banned an employee for canceling a customer's reservation due to the client's race. Tsao and 3 other friends made a reservation to Big Bear in California and later asked if they could add 2 more friends to the reservation. The hostess initially replied that it would be fine, they'd just have to add more money. When Tsao tried to confirm her reservation, the host explained that Tsao was not welcome after finding out that she was Asian. If she was the last person on Earth. Tsao informed the employee that she was going to report her, and the employee messaged back encouraging her to do so, stating, "This is why we have Trump." We'll be back with more KVR News after the break.
The Texas legislature takes steps to make cyberbullying illegal.
UT expands its athletic fields with a new basketball arena.
And the Jefferson Davis statue permanently moves to the Briscoe Center. All this and more after the break.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News tip line, 475-8181.
State Senator Jose Mendez authored a bill that plans to make cyberbullying a crime. Senate Bill 179, also known as David's Law, is named after 16-year-old David Molak of San Antonio, who took his own life in January of 2016 after being harassed online. This bill proposes giving police the power to unmask anonymous bullies and give school districts the ability to investigate bullying that happens off campus. Cyberbullying has become even more prevalent among children and teens throughout the past decade. The Cyberbullying Research Center reported that last year, 1/3 of all boys and girls aged 12 to 17 have been cyberbullied at least one point in their life. SB 179 was left pending in the committee. We'll continue to keep track of this bill as it moves through the Texas Senate. 2017 marks the 5th anniversary of the Tejano Monument located on the Capitol grounds. On Saturday, the people of Austin came together to celebrate Tejano music, its history, and its culture. The Tejano Monument was unveiled back in 2012 after taking years to complete. Its purpose serves to recognize the influence of Tejanos and to acknowledge the impact of Spanish-Mexican heritage in Texas culture. Governor Greg Abbott was just one of the many speakers at the ceremony. There was music throughout the celebration too, including a performance by UT's very own mariachi ensemble, Mariachi Paredes.
Austin-based company Torchy's Tacos sued a Colorado taco company for trademark infringement. Torchy's claims that the name of the Colorado company infringed upon a catchphrase trademarked in 2008. The trademark, of course, was their signature saying, "Darn good tacos." In November, Torchy's sent a letter to cease and desist for the use of the name and offered financial assistance. When the Colorado company refused, Torchy's decided to file a lawsuit. The restaurant declined to comment on the lawsuit. UT kicked off Mental Health Promotion Week tonight after their afternoon activities were postponed because of the rain. Each day, an event on campus will focus on promoting a positive emotional well-being. UT a mental health center created the event and will host programs designed to emphasize the benefits of exploring mindfulness, self-care, self-compassion, diversity, and inclusion. The first event is a relaxing glow-in-the-dark yoga and meditation session. On Friday, the group has organized therapy dogs to come and help de-stress students. For students interested in these activities, they can visit the Mental Health Promotion 2017 Facebook page. As finals approach, we urge students to take care of their mental health and reach out to professionals if needed.
President Gregory L. Fenves presented a new plan to reconstruct a basketball arena for the Texas Longhorns. Fenves proposed the basketball stadium to be built south of the Mike A. Myers Track Stadium and directly east of the Recreational Sports Center. Currently, this area is known as Lot 70, a place where students with Class C permits may park their cars. This new stadium would replace the Frank Irwin Basketball Center, which first opened its doors in 1977. President Fenves said this would make basketball games much more accessible to UT students. After the new stadium is built, the Frank Irwin Center would be used for future expansion of the Dell Medical School and the UT Health District. UT Austin is in the process of developing the project's scope and potential cost, which is said to be finished in the next 5 to 7 years. New construction around UT is a daily occurrence for most students, but those who live near the Jester Residence Hall may have noticed new construction near the Blanton Museum of Art. This building is actually a new exhibit created by artist Ellsworth Kelly. He initially gifted the piece to the Blanton in 2015. There, Kelly announced this piece of art would be called Austin. This honors the artist's tradition of naming his exhibits for the places they are destined to be displayed. This is the first and only freestanding building Kelly has designed. The Blanton Museum of Art expects the building to be completed in 2017. And a statue of Jefferson Davis, which once stood in UT's South Mall, has been placed in the Briscoe Center for American History. The statue was originally placed on UT's campus in 1933, but was removed in 2015 amid criticism of Confederate symbols on campus. Vandals targeted the statues frequently, and it was once spray painted with the phrase "Black Lives Matter." After a series of town halls and debates, UT President Gregory Fenves decided to move the art piece. The statue is now on display in the exhibit, Exploring the American South.
Margaret Berry, a former UT dean and history professor, passed away at 101 years old. President Fenves reflected on her life in a statement, saying that she made the 40 acres a better place. Berry was born in August of 1915 in Dawson, Texas. She earned her master's and doctorate degrees from Columbia University in New York, and then she went on to earn a history degree from UT in 1937. She became the Associate Dean of Women 25 years later. Berry played a critical role in chronicling the university's history and is remembered fondly by the university's faculty. UT's Alpha Epsilon Delta, a pre-health honor society, hosted its annual PIA President fundraising event last week. We were on the scene.
I'm here at the East Mall where Alpha Epsilon Delta is hosting its 5th annual PIA President event. Hundreds of students have come by today to pie their favorite president or professor. The best part is that it all goes to charity.
So I'm here with Alpha Epsilon Delta. We're hosting our 5th annual PIA President. PIA President is our main philanthropy, and we are raising money for Dell Children's Surgical Global Outreach. So that's a cause that Dell Children's Medical Center, it's a medical team that goes out to Guatemala every year and performs free surgery surgeries for the kids there. So we have a lot of different organization presidents out. We have 120 something organizations out here today, and a bunch of different professors will be out.
I'm representing Health Occupation Students of America, which is HOSA. It's a pre-health organization here on campus. It was fun, I guess. There's I couldn't open my eye for a second because there's whipped cream in it, but I think it's pretty fun.
I've been pried almost 20 times, probably so far. A couple friends bought multiple and then came at different angles. They got creative with it. I'm very excited that people have come actually out and want to pie me because that's more exciting. But yeah, it tasted really good, and I need a shower later anyway, so it's all good. I'm very excited to have some friends out here supporting me with this.
I'm Katie Balevic, KVR News.
Zilker Park celebrated its 100th anniversary. The Austin Parks Foundation held its first ever free day on Sunday to celebrate the milestone of the park's centennial. Areas like the Zilker Zephyr and Barton Springs pool were open to the public for the entire day at no cost. A new sculpture was debuted as well. The sculpture is two big zeros with a space before them in the hopes that visitors will stand and be the one for the 100 years. Austin Mayor Steve Adler read an official proclamation naming 2017 the 100th anniversary of the park and helped in the reopening ceremony of the caretaker's cottage.
For those who were at Zilker yesterday, we hope you enjoyed the beautiful weather that we had.
And the weather was so beautiful yesterday, but compared to yesterday, Monday's been a little bit dreary.
It has. Let's see if these storms are going to continue throughout the week. Daniela?
Thank you, Katie and Ashley. This weekend we had some spectacularly sunny skies, but this morning we woke up to clouds and signs of rain showers. The sun did not come out during the afternoon, but don't get too comfortable. If you plan on walking on campus tonight to PCO or the SAT to study, you should get your umbrellas handy, because we have a severe thunderstorm watch tonight. I'll have more after the break.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
On Tuesday, don't forget to grab your umbrella before walking out to class. Tomorrow, it will be partly cloudy with a 50% chance of rain. We'll see a high of 79 and a low of 74. On Wednesday, there's only a small chance of rain at 20%, so feel free to wear your shorts and tank tops because there will be highs in the 80s and lows in the 60s. On Thursday, expect a 20% chance of rain again. It will be mostly cloudy with highs near 80s and lows near 60s. As we approach the weekend, the rain starts to go away and we'll see perfect weather for a stress-free weekend after the last round of midterms. On Friday, it will be partly sunny with a high near 81 and a low of 65. On Saturday, keep those water bottles filled up because it will be partly sunny with a high near 82 and a low of 66. On Sunday, even though there's a 20% chance of rain, it will be plenty of sun with a high near 83 and low of 64. There will be perfect sunlight throughout the day for those Easter pictures. So keep those baskets in hand because nothing will be stopping you from hunting those Easter eggs. In the Weather Center, Daniela Villegas, KVR News.
Thanks, Daniela.
And we'll be back with Ross Lebinsky from College Press Box after the break.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
The Texas baseball team took on Sam Houston State on Tuesday, winning 8-1. The Horns backed Kyle Johnston's strong outing by jumping on the Bearcats in the third inning, exploding for 5 runs. That wouldn't be the only win of the week for the Horns as they took on 16th-ranked Oklahoma and took the series 2-1, winning on Friday and Saturday before falling to OU in the series finale on Sunday. The pitching was excellent in all 3 games and gave the offense enough room to operate. The Longhorns took advantage of 2 OU errors and scored enough to hold off the Sooners on Friday. On Saturday, it was the Clemens show. Cody Clemens launched a solo shot in the third to the game and to tie the game, while older brother Casey broke the game open with a grand slam to put the Horns in control. Texas continues its season against Texas State on Tuesday. The Texas softball team hosted the Oklahoma Sooners over the weekend, and the Longhorn story turned out much different than that of the baseball Red River rivalry this past weekend. Oklahoma swept the series for more. Here's TSTV's own Hannah Nevlud.
Texas started Saturday's game against the defending national champions honoring breast cancer survivors, while trying to survive the second game of the series after losing Friday 3-2 in a close matchup.
I thought we had a good game plan and a pretty good approach, but we really just could not string anything together, and obviously they made a couple nice plays early again and kept us from getting any momentum going.
The difference in today's game? How the team attacked OU's pitcher, Maria Lopez.
She's throwing the ball pretty hard, and she was working the corners a little bit, and we just have to make adjustments sooner.
Although already down 2-0 in the series, Texas doesn't look at Sunday's final game as a lost cause. The Longhorns are keeping their eyes peeled for the golden opportunity to get the win tomorrow in the final game of the series.
I think we need to focus on the little things, timely hitting as well. Just things like that. It's just really small things, but those could turn games around for us.
For Texas's offense, the shift in momentum came bottom of the fifth when right fielder Caitlin Washington doubled to left center. However, it was only one of the 2 hits that Texas had at today's game.
I think we've had a lot of key takeaways going into tomorrow, and I'm really excited to see how we come out on offense tomorrow because we have had 2 hits, I think, and then I think maybe 2 hits again today. So, it's going to be exciting when our offense shows up.
We try to, take it one game at a time, and, that game tomorrow is still a big game. So we're just staying positive, and, we can hang with them. We showed it the past 2 days, so we're just trying to get that last win in the series.
The Longhorns are also looking for their first win in conference play this season and hoping to get it tomorrow when they face Oklahoma once more at McCombs Field at noon. Hannah Nevlud, College Press Box.
Thanks for joining us, Ross. Let's see what Hollywood has been up to over the weekend. Asia?
Pepsi and Kendall Jenner face an enormous amount of backlash for their recent ad. JC may have 99 problems, but Spotify isn't one. Learn why this rapper's music isn't on the online streaming website anymore, and the world falls in love with a teen's promposal for Emma Stone, proving he really isn't just someone in the crowd.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
A Pepsi commercial featuring Kendall Jenner was pulled after waves of backlash on social media. The ad shows the celebrity wearing a blonde wig, which she takes off to join a group of protesters. After handing a can of Pepsi to a police officer, peace is brought between the officers and protesters. Many mocked the video for being tone deaf, including the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., Bernice King. SNL also mocked the ad, where cast member Beck Bennett portrays the director of the commercial, and Cicely Strong impersonates Jenner, where she says she stopped the police from shooting black people by handing over a Pepsi. If you notice a shorter Spotify playlist this weekend, you might want to scroll down to the J section to see why. Rapper Jay-Z removed most of his music from the streaming app over the weekend, leaving only 3 full albums and some singles. This is almost 3 years after Jay-Z launched his own streaming service, Tidal, which is competing with Spotify's estimated 50 million users and Apple Music's estimated 20 million. Tidal itself retains an estimated 1 to 3 million streamers monthly. Earlier this year, Tidal sold a 33% stake to Sprint, which granted it access to the corporation's roughly 45 million customers. Unfortunately for Spotify users, Jay-Z's discography is still available to stream on Apple Music and for purchase on iTunes. Arizona senior Jacob Stoudemire took his dreams outside of La La Land and dedicated a promposal to actress Emma Stone. Stoudemire recreated the entire first song of the movie La La Land in the hope that Stone might just say yes. Unfortunately, Stone tweeted that she was in London working and wished him the best at prom. But she did give him the ultimate compliment, saying he resembled her La La Land co-star Ryan Gosling around the eyes. After becoming the newest viral sensation, Jacob is sure to have another day of sun at prom. That's all for this week's entertainment news. Back to you, Katie and Ashley.
Thanks, Asia, and thank you for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us for news updates throughout the week. You can follow us on Twitter at KVR News or like us on Facebook. I'm Ashley Tsao.
And I'm Katie Balevic. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great week.